Hello, Brotherhood member Mars here, giving you an online commentary for a 2v2 31k battle on Rome Total War. Here is myself, Brotherhood member Mars, gone under the name of Attrition. Um, Here I've brought 14 urban cohorts, 1 legionary first cohort, and 5 praetorian cavalry. I've used my legionary first cohort as a pilot shield because of their big unit size, I'm able to stretch out my whole entire line to cover 2 urbans. So this means that I'll be it'll be good for absorbing pilots and keeping my 2 urbans back here safe. I sort of split my army up, so I have my main bulk here, and I have 4 urban cohorts right here. These 4 urban cohorts will mainly be used for flanking and to support my Praetorian cavalry. I put my cavalry under wedge because they're more, so I can get a good charge whenever I need to. The 4 urbans will be supporting me. These guys will be holding off the enemy infantry until I can win the flank or take out the cavalry. Here's my ally, Drydic Salty. He fought 4 Praetorian cavalry, what looks to be 13 or 14 urbans, and 1 early legionary first cohort. He's used this unit to increase the morale of his troop, and since this unit is not very good in the specifications, it's early. He won't be using it very much for combat purposes unless things get really desperate. As you can see, he's brought a Roman armored general. These guys are extremely annoying on the battlefield. They have extremely good specifications, they're well armored, 2 hit points, and also they're fast moving. So this means that these guys will be very hard to catch. On the 31k battlefield, Roman armored generals were used to hit open units and places that weren't really guarded well, and these guys were a real big nuisance on the battlefield. So if he could use that well, he can annoy the enemy, he can inflict a lot of casualties, and overall get a lot of kills with this unit. I know many players have been able to use this effectively, and if he can do so, it might gain us victory. However, he must be extremely careful that his general does not get stuck, or is not left behind, or else if this guy dies, then the morale of my army right here and his army right here, all units will have a morale penalty. So he'll have to be extremely careful not to lose this unit. Here on the other team is the RTW player Scruffy. He's bought 14 urbans and 6 Praetorian cavalry. He's got 3 pilot shield units to absorb the Roman pilots, and he's got his main bulk of infantry right there. And he's put his Praetorian cavalry behind his infantry, so if my infantry engage, he could just charge into them, and he could support his ally behind his main lines. Here is Renegade Tyrus. He's bought the Macedonians, about 15 Royal Pikes, and 5 Companion Cavalry. The Companion Cavalry, they're extremely good on charge. They have one of the highest charges in the game. They don't have a shield, so they might lose a lot of men to arrow fire. However, if these guys can be used right in charging, they can inflict heavy casualties onto any enemy. Here's about 15 Royal Pikemen. Royal Pikemen are extremely good against enemy cavalry. They have these extremely long spears, and they're extremely good against cavalry. Because of these long spears, they're also good against infantry as defensive troops. Because of these long spears, it's extremely hard to get through them. If used properly, they can kill a lot of troops because of their spear length. Also, we'll have to avoid fighting them head-on, because usually when you fight phalanx units head-on, they inflict a lot of casualties onto enemy infantry and cavalry, so we'll have to be extremely careful. Here are the 4 players in the 31k match. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let's get the battle going. Alright, so as the battle kicks off, Scruffy and Tigress are moving extremely aggressively towards us. I've answered their call, and I'm going to charge straight into them. I'm gonna run my Urban cohorts and my Praetorian cavalry around the sides. My ally's gonna join me in this run, and he's going to match the Royal Pikemen so they don't outflank. Royal Pikemen go into phalanx because he thinks that the Romans are gonna charge immediately. Things start off with a bit of a skirmish. The Romans, my Romans are throwing Pila at the enemy Romans, and as you can see, the Macedonian player has immediately charged into the Romans. Alright, so all of the pikemen are now attacking my ally right here. There are two ways to take. There are actually three actually. There are three ways to take out a pike faction. There's you could go into Testudo to slow them down until you could outflank them, or until they get really tired. Because in Testudo, these long pike units, they can't really munch through them because they're in a defensive formation. So these guys often get tired. You can either be patient and wait for them all to get tired. You can put his troops into defensive formation and tire them out as well. That could be one thing you could use. However, in the long run, if you put your troops in defensive formation into prolonged melee against the pikemen, they often die, but they get their troops tired. Or you could outflank and try and hit them from the rear. However, that's not a good idea because their troops are fresh, they have lots of them, and the Praetorian and the companion cavalry on the back, ready to charge. Here, Drydick Salty is shooting arrows at possibly the urban cohorts and the cavalry. He's firing regular arrows, possibly to damage them. He's not using his Roman armor general right now because we're in the thick of combat, and all the troops are fresh and their formation is defensive, so it's not a good idea to attack. It's really good to use these guys when the enemy are moving or when nobody's looking. So attacking them when people least suspect it is how you can really use them. I've got my urban cohorts. I've put them in loose formation. I'm now outflanking the enemy. I want to get some of my pilot to hit some of those close formation units. I also want to attack it and take out Scruffy's cavalry immediately so we have the advantage. However, I'm not going to do that just yet because I'm going to lose. Throw my Pila. Hold the defensive formation. I've noticed that Scruffy's cavalry is now away from the bulk of the infantry, and I've held it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to charge straight into his Praetorian cavalry, bring in the urban cohort to support, and then charge straight in. However, Scruffy realizes the danger of my urban cohorts and my Praetorian cavalry, so he's going to back out immediately. However, the bad news is that he's lost quite a few cavalry, and 2 of his units have routed already. I'm going to go chase him down, make sure he's away from the battlefield. However, I don't want to go too far because his reinforcements have arrived. Here was a Drydick Salties charged into the enemy infantry. Put his units into Testudo to try and slow down the enemy pikes. Can't really do much about it. And the outflanking is not a good idea because there are lots of Romans still there. Alright, so Scruffy's faked the cavalry attack. However, I'm still going to charge into him because he's in a really bad position. Alright, I've turned my infantry body because I've noticed that all of Scruffy's infantry has gone over to the other side. And the pikemen have now retreated back. So Drydick Salty is gonna charge straight while those guys are going back. Alright, so as you can see, using that Salty's using that armor general against the pike units as they're moving back. Although this isn't really a good idea, still doing it anyways to inflict damage and to cause morale. Drydick Salty's done a good job of holding the pikes back. He's even managed to rout one of them with 83 men in it. He's also touched the touch with my formation so he can support me. I'm in a bit of an awkward position because look at where the urban cohorts are. They're about right here, and the pikes are right here, so I'm in a bit of an odd position, so he's taking up a good position to help me out. However, I've done this so I could try and put infantry right here and just charge in. However, I'm going to pull my cavalry back, get them ready for a charge. I've got my 4 urban cohorts just munching up those booty eye infantry. You can notice the Macedonian cavalry has attacked my urban cohorts right here. I've noticed that he's attacked them. I'm gonna charge them straight into those companions. Cavalry is most powerful on charge, and it does good against clumped up units. Alright, so I've turned my formation forward. I've got my infantry. I've sent 2 up, so my formation looks kind of weird. Alright, can you see that Macedonian player has brought pikes in? This is to try and stop me from charging straight into the center, which is often a tactic used in Duty 1K. As you can see, Salty's moving up forward, and as you can see, he's done a flanking movement. Macedonian pikes are not very good against flanking motions. As you can see, one big con to this is that companion cavalry and Macedonian cavalry can attack them in the rear, and if units are isolated, they can rout and often fight them to death. As you can see, Tiberius has taken up a defensive formation covering its flanks. This is often what pike players do when outflanked. And you've got one pike unit right there to try and close in the gap. As you can see, it's just slow fighting right here. Just slow fighting, nobody can charge in yet. Pikes are fighting, everybody's fighting, we can't really charge in at this stage. The Drydick Salty's moved his cavalry over. Probably noticed a little tight spot in here, formation. As you can see, I've moved my general up there. Although it's a really risky move, I want to get Scruffy to try and attack me. I'm charging one of my urbans in. I want to take out his cavalry as soon as possible. He's retreated. He knows the danger. As you can see, Drydick Salty's charged into the flanks right here where the pikes are not there. I'm trying my best to try and take out the enemy cavalry. So what I've done is I've thrown in one urban cohort to take out the companions. Alright, so looking at the battlefield, everything seems 50-50. As you can see, Salty's forced to fold back because his units have taken a lot of damage. They've taken up, the Macedonians have taken up a defensive formation that allows them to defend their rear and flanks, and fighting pikes head on is not a good idea because in the long run you're bound to die. Let's see, things are looking to be on our side. This flank is is about to crumble. However, I've put my men into a loose formation. The Macedonians have attacked, and the Praetorians are attacking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send three of my cavalry on charge to hit that clump. I'm going to send 2 of my cavalry against the Praetorians. As you can see, the charge was so good that they managed to rout some of the Macedonians. However, Tiberius has brought Royal Pikeman units. It's probably gonna rout our cavalry. Yep, he's routing our cavalry slowly. These guys have a really big bonus against anti-cavalry. Also, Struffy's brought some of his infantry over. Although we did take out most of their cavalry, our cavalry was routed, and ultimately we have lost this flank. So it was a good attack, it was a good try. However, we kind of failed in the process. However, we haven't lost all of our cavalry yet because mainly just routed.
This is no way for a Roman to behave.
As you can see, my general has just routed because we just lost this flank. They were able to wrap around and take out my general. This is not a good sign because my general is about to die and he's routing. This is gonna inflict major morale penalties on my infantry. As you can see, one of my infantry have a morale penalty. It says unhappy to see friends routing. This is often accredited to nearby units routing and can cause a lot of morale penalties. So this means that they're easier to rout because of those morale penalties. However, good news is that we still have our cavalry, so things are still looking good for us. And I haven't used all my infantry yet. Salty hasn't used all of his infantry yet. And because all the enemy cavalry are over there, he can do outflanking attacks and possibly take out as many Royal Pikemen as he can. Okay, as you can see, units are all over the place. We got one Royal Pikeman unit right there. Just a mess. Okay, so
your general's nerve has broken, and he is fleeing from the enemy.
So before I go helping my allies over there and my main body, I'm gonna take out this unit of Royal Pikemen because it's kind of surrounded, and nobody's gonna go help it. Routed it. All right, right now I'm enforcing this flank with even more infantry, putting it on guard mode. Crap, my general has just died. My general has just died. This is not good for my army. 3 of my units have just routed, and this is not looking good for my army. However, good news, I still have my cavalry. As you can see, because of that flanking motion, we've lost those urban cohorts. They've routed. However, I'm gonna charge straight into here because all of the enemy cavalry are somewhere else, and this looks to be a really tight, loose spot in their formation. Charge straight in. However, Scruffy, notice that charge that counterattack. I'm gonna pull out as fast as I can. Somehow he's managed to keep that general alive. I'm gonna press and rally on it as soon as he possibly can. Forcing more and more with my infantry. I think I've used up all my infantry here, so things could go bad either way. You can see I'm charging straight into this guy's general. Doesn't even look to me well. Oh, the guy just flew!
The enemy general
The guy just flew! Okay, so because the general has died, this now causes morale penalties onto the whole army. I think I've got a mass rout right here. Salty's brought more of his infantry over. As you can see, Tiberius has moved his Royal Pikeman unit over to try and support. Okay, so we've managed to make a bit of a comeback here. We've actually won this flank. However, we still have a full Macedonian army to fight, and most of my infantry is not willing to fight. They're all tired, winded, and battle damaged. So against the pikes, I'll probably be routed. However, the Brudii player has been defeated, and his cavalry is now gone. So we've won this flank. However, there's still more fighting to go. As you can see, Scruffy has part of his units in the Testudo to try and block those Romans right here. From now, it's less and less tactics, more fighting. Alright, we're just wrapping up, taking out as many units as we possibly can do. Scruffy is trying to keep as many of his tattered units as he can possible to try and annoy us and take out as many of our units. We're just pressing against the pikes. Although it does say that victory is not in their favor, because they're fighting head on, they'll be taking more casualties. Alright, so I'm gonna keep my cavalry, I'm gonna rest them for a bit and take out. Sorry. I'm gonna be taking out as many remnant units as I possibly can. I'm also gonna be trying to look for weak spots in the formation. As you can see, the Macedonians are reinforcing every single side with pikes, so they can prevent my cavalry from charging in. As you can see, this early legionary first cohort is charging into those companions. Those companions are trying to take out the archers, because at this stage the archers are going to do a lot of damage against backside phalanxes. Yeah, I'm going to try and take them out. However, my troops are very tired and they're winded, so they're obviously going to be more faster. I brought in some of my other remnant units. I've got an urban cohort chasing this one other urban cohort. Alright, so Scruffy's gonna charge straight into these archers. However, seeing my cavalry, he's gonna refrain from doing that. Notice it says wavering and shaken. This means that because of they're ready to be routed. I was gonna charge actually. So because of doing that, taking out a lot of archer auxilia. I'm just gonna rest my cavalry right here. If you could see, because the Royal Pikemen are surrounded on all sides, they've taken a sort of defensive formation. A lot of people may know this as a noob box. However, noob boxes are actually a good formation because if pikes are surrounded like this, they can possibly survive and make a last stand by reinforcing all of their sides with pikes. So this means that my cavalry cannot attack, and fighting pikes head on is not a good idea. So by doing this, he can make a good last stand. However, new boxes are only made, or these defensive boxes are only made when in last stand. So when you are surrounded and you cannot push any more forward. Alright, so me and Salty have routed the last of the Brudii cavalry, so they won't be back any longer. Also, most of the companion cavalry are not dead. However, since these guys have such an extremely good charge, they'll still be extremely good, and they'll be a huge nuisance. You can see they're charging straight in. Okay, and they've charged straight into those archer auxilia. As you can see, that 81 man unit was reduced to 26. These guys are extremely powerful. However, because of these constant cavalry attacks, we need to create a bit of our own box and try and surround our flanks. As you can see, Salty's instead of those regular arrows, he's using those flaming arrows. Flaming arrows give morale penalties because everyone's afraid of fire. Yeah, so one of those urbans have just surrounded. Okay, as you can see, those companion cavalry have just
Great gods be
oh
praised.
shoot, the Macedonian general has just died. And
Fear makes a
the
home in our
companion
enemies'
cavalry have
hearts.
charged straight into my two urban cohorts, and because my general is dead, there's a huge morale penalty, and these guys just don't want to fight anymore, so they're just running. So things actually look to be 50-50 right here, because all my infantry has routed, and all I have left is my cavalry. And the Macedonians have more troops than us so right now, because of their huge unit sizes, so they actually might have a chance of winning. Salty is flaming them in arrows. Fighting is extremely hard over here. You see, victory seems certain. Because they're wrapped up in such a tight formation, it's so hard to break a tight formation. As you can see, a Royal Pikeman has just routed because they're exhausting. They only have 2 men. For every unit that routes, it has a morale bonus. Oh, as you can see, yes, panic by fire attack. So these guys do give a morale hindrance, and everyone's just charging. See, it's just hard fighting. Everyone's panicked by a fire attack or unhappy over taking casualties. We notice that it says wavering, so because their captain has just died, or their general has just died, they have a morale penalty. See, I brought one of my urban cohorts over to try and support. Now Salty's thrown everything he has into the fray. He's gonna take a huge gamble, and he's going to throw everything in. So this could be life and death right here. Alright, so I've noticed that there's a bit of a gap right here, so I'm gonna charge straight in with my battle-torn cavalry. I'm going to charge straight into the sides of this formation right here. As you can see, because they're surrounded, they're exhausted and tired. All of them have now just routed, and it seems to be game over right now. All right, so while we were doing this battle, Steam unfortunately crashed on us, so I won't be showing you the battle results. However, it's safe to assume that all the Macedonians routed. However, although I am guessing that Salty got the most kills because he was the one who took out most of the Macedonians, and because of Salty's good teamwork, he was able and sending me over some of his infantry, I was able to survive my flank. So well played to Salty, and Scruffy and Tiberius, they did some really good teamwork tactics. At one point in time, I actually thought that they were going to win that battle because of that flank battle right over here. I actually thought they were going to win that, so it was really good teamwork by both of them. They played really, really well, and I hope to play them again. Another thing is that in 2v2 battles, in any sort of team battle, you need teamwork in order to win. The only reason why we were able to win is because we constantly support each other in times of need. So yeah. So good game to everybody, and I hope you enjoyed that battle, and please leave a comment and a like below. See you again.